Hello, I'm John Proxy, channel John West. I'm having a Torment adventure. Forgot to change my glasses, never mind. I don't even know where they've gone at the moment. Are they here in front of me? They're not! Okay. Oh yeah, they are, actually. So, T for the Memora. Oh yes, I remember why I saved here. Let's change these glasses, because these are slightly less reflective, hopefully. They need a bit of a clean, but whatever. It's a bit less, you know, shine in my eyes. So this guy might kill me, and I'm not sure if I want him to kill me. Oh, hang on. Doesn't matter if I die, does it? Right. I don't want to kill him, though. That's a bit of an issue. So... I'm ready for the next part of your test. So am I, he says, nodding gravely. But prepare yourself, I will not hold back this time. Dabiri's assault! So, faster now, but not deadly. He launches a two-handed blow to my face. I can either leap out of range or use initiative and quick fingers to parry and counterattack. You won't see it coming. So, it's going to use all of my purple. What's purple? Oh, whatever. Let's just use it all. Success! You lunge into the attack, driving your arms up between his fists and pushing them apart. One hand whips around the back of his neck and pulls him into the range of your forehead. Crack! He stumbles back, blinking, smiling. You're ready. Well, have I passed all your tests? You have, he says, but I will remind you one more time that this will be a fight to the death. He draws 1 foot back, setting his weight on it. His hands come up and drawn apart, tightening into fists. Are you certain you want me to do this? Yes. Very well, the challenge has begun. He regards you with the same serene eyes of a predator, chest rising and falling. A warm wind tumbles across the stones between you. He flows with it, spinning away from the ground. His foot slices towards your head in a blur. Time slows as if the universe is holding its breath. Cook him! Kick! So I can either use initiative quick fingers. I'm going to use initiative smashing because I've got strength left. Hammer of the changing god. Nope. I've got to use purple. Never mind. See if this works. It did! Haha! Oh god, I hope I haven't killed him. Before his foot can connect, you drive your fist upwards, smashing him beneath the chin. He tumbles gracelessly to the ground, choking. Time resumes, flowing through you, and you feel some of Aiden's inhuman speed melding with your own reflexes. You have won, Aiden says, when he has regained some of his breath. Finish it. So I gained 2 XP. I permanently gained 1 speed pool. Maximum speed pool is now 1. Yeah, so you've... And rob the world of your talent? Never. Yeah, that's what I want to do. I know it disrespects him, but I don't want to kill him. I'd rather see you living with the knowledge that I beat you, or snap his neck. I don't want to rob the world of your talent, never. I see, he says, lowering his head, troubled. Perhaps I should have shown my other opponents the same mercy. Instead, their talent is lost forever. There we go, I'm happy with that. He staggers back to his feet and resumes training. I've got a bit of gold tied. Alagern says, I don't usually go in for mercy, but he does seem like the type who only tries to kill you once. Are you going to be challenging everyone you meet to daring duels? Never mind, don't tell me. I want to be surprised. I do thank you for not robbing this world of his talent. The square is a better place for the sight of him, jumping about and flexing. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that, but I've used up a lot of my stats. Shall we go in there?
Yes. Now.
Why? I don't know why I asked. Are we recording? Do I have sound? Good, good, good. Yesterday I forgot to put sound on. It's going to be 30 minutes of me redubbing an episode. That's always fun. Not as sweet as I would like, but I'm not going to put extra sugar in. It's good for me to skip the sugar once in a while. There's Clarion. Clarion, mate. So this young woman, oh, it's a lady, wears a finely polished armour and paces back and forth restlessly on the walkway. Her long hair is lustrous and healthy, and her whole form exudes a wholesome vitality. When she sees you, she raises her voice in greeting. Welcome, friend, to the Fifth Eye. She strides closer to speak more softly. You come at an exciting time. I've been trying to convince some veteran warriors of their eminent suitability to join the endless battle. So far they have rebuffed me. But perhaps you can succeed where I have failed. Sorry, there was a glass right in front of the mic and I thought that actually might interfere. So tell me about yourself. I'm Clarion. I streak strong warriors, brave souls to fight the endless battle, to hold back the advance of the enemy. What can you tell me about the endless battle? Much as it sounds, she says, it stemmed from a rift between the changing god and one of his offspring, and has endured for hundreds of years, raging over the same battlefields, using the deadliest technology of the ancients, and landscape is scarred and pitied beyond recognition. The walls between dimensions are thin there. Everyday horrors cross our world. She stands, arms akimbo, worse in recent years. The struggle has expanded. Nearby settlements founded to provide material support for the combatants, or existing there long before the two sides came to rage on their borders, have been engulfed by the spreading chaos. She frowns. It is not long to change the course of the battle. If only warriors of proven mettle would join the fight. That's why I'm here. That's why I beg for your help. Glorious glorious cornflakes, and delicious. No, she doesn't think that at all. She thinks a glorious conflict. So many have grown stronger in its wake. What side are you recruiting for? Quite an important question. The changing gods! He's always been the patron of the Sage's Cliffs. Perhaps we would not exist if it was not for his lives and his cast-offs. Certainly, we would not be as we are. She pauses. But that is not the only reason. The changing gods' forces have allied with the towns and villages of the Verzulian Waste. Let's pretend that's the correct pronunciation of that word. We seek to prevent the endless battle from expanding beyond its borders, growing in size once again. If I help you, will I get a reward? Of course! I'm not a healthy woman, but I have allies in the city who are. The more veterans you convince to join the battle, the more you will be paid. Ooh. Well, that changes things. That's not very nice, is it? She puts makeup on like a proper person. Sorry. Just noticed it. It's unflattering light source there. Yes. You didn't tell me anything else about the veterans you hope to recruit. They have fought in countless battles and emerged victorious. They have made decisive forays and turned entire wars. They are clever, and thoughtful. Though I know only their reputation. The third inversion, for instance, saw them reach into the new dimension, and now I won't bore you with the details, but they were integral to an offensive that would have changed the course of that conflict. Why are you trying to recruit these veterans? Perhaps they're tired of war. She shakes her head. Conflict shapes us all. It sharpens us, makes us stronger than we ever thought we could be. If you hide from it, you'll never know what you might have become, or worse, you'll be easy prey for those who are stronger or crueler than you. She clutches your shoulders, or my shoulders. These veterans have grown tired and complacent. I want to help them recapture what they lost. No, I want to make them even greater than they ever were. If they ever become prey, it will make whomever hunts them very strong. Let's talk about the merits of conflict again. Oh no, hang on. Yeah, I'll help you recruit the veterans. You have my gratitude. And a generous reward if you can succeed in this, my friend. She begins to point. At the bar, you see Leto, as in Jared Leto. The woman clad in desert robes, as in Jared Leto. Behind the bar, Firiok. At the table there, Zeob. She lowers her voice again. With Zeob, you see Theberos. She probably doesn't. She probably pronounces it correctly first time and everything. He is older, but he has great experience. She whispers. She indicates a final target with her chin. Yeah. I assume she does that. It's not like an alien. And then the crowning prince, Dharma. He's their leader. Farewell. Always a pleasure. Yeah, I've got no intellect. I've got loads of might. I've got his intellect, but... No, I don't. I've got his intellect. So... an odd lilting song occasionally rises from within this machine, as if a musician is trapped inside. I'm tempted to go sleep. Down over the bloom, Ziob, Therabos, Lita, Firok. There's Gara of the Funk. The wispy mustache on this pudgy, middle-aged man would be almost comical if it weren't for his deep and despairing eyes. They are the eyes of a man who has passed through the gates of an alien hells and returned, though not necessarily whole. His fingers, tightly wrapped around some fine glassware, are strong and slim, musician's fingers, or stranglers. Yeah, two type of people, those fingers. Musicians, stranglers. Musicians, stranglers. They both have strong and slim fingers. It's well known. Musicians and stranglers. Sorry. It's just an odd comparison. That's all. Yeah. Your fingers. They're strong but slim, like musicians or strangler. Anyway, I know they're war people, but still, it's just a war. Let me carry on, shall I? You can't read his thoughts at all. You might as well try to read the thoughts of a wall. Before you open your mouth to speak, he says, "What is that place in your head?" Ooh, he's an interesting fellow. It's a labyrinth. A labyrinth? He raises an eyebrow and leans back in his seat. That's a novel construction. He starts ticking items off on his fingers. I've seen people construct psychic fortresses, cathedral, graveyards, hellscapes, and vortices from which no life escapes. All dramatic places, all powerful and forbidding, but a labyrinth? Well, that's a whole different construction. That speaks to cunning and guile. Fair enough. Do you mind if I take a quick look? Seems like a strange thing to carry and not know anything about. His voice is polished and clean, friendly, but intent. Yeah, go ahead. My thanks. Though it's not often the wisest choice to let strangers enter your mind. I'll not do you any harm. Might help you. I got the sense that he wouldn't do any harm. He smiles to take the sting out of his words. Ready? He breathes in, and suddenly you feel you are a moat tucked inside a gigantic prism, with eyes peering at you from all around. You are held tightly in an enormous fist. You are a flimsy piece of glass held up to the light. Yet somehow it is not utterly terrifying. His words come to you as if from a distance. A shared space. Such depths, such twists. It builds itself around your experiences, around those who share it with you. Shared spaces are occasionally dangerous, so I sharpened part of your mind. His voice draws closer, and the pressure eases. I didn't probe deeply, but this would be an excellent battleground. If you lured a foe into you, you could trap it within your mind. You could destroy it. Oh, introductions. Yes. Last cast off permanently gained 1 intellect ball. Maximum intellect ball is now 10. He sets a glass down and shakes your hand. I'm Dharma. Dharma of the Bloom. He pinches the bridge of his nose, his eyes tightly shut. You feel a gentle and powerful presence around your consciousness. I have a request of you. It might seem strange, but you have an interesting topography to your mind. You might be able to help us. The Fifth Eye is home to psychic veterans. We fought an incursion of nightmares, I suppose. Nightmares, slithering into the city's shared dream space, eating minds and leaving husks behind. We call them adversaries. We burned them out and cauterized the wounds through which they inflicted our reality. But I can't shake the nagging feeling that one of them survived and waits to strike. I trust my intuition, and now it's telling me to ask for your help. I'm happy to help. What do I need to do? He breathes a sigh of relief. My thanks. I feel the adversary. I know it's here. I know it's close. It's watching us, but it's hiding its presence. I fear it will strike when our guard is down. It may be in the fifth eye even now. He shrugs helplessly. Sadly, our fifth eye is blind. He jerks a thumb at the bartender. Not the bartender. That's a completely different thing. It might be that our foe has blinded us, but it might not have shielded itself from you. Look for it and tell me if you find something unusual. Right. So I can say I think I may have a lead on the identity of the adversary. Potentially the adversary is that evil thing chasing me around as well. Claron seems to think you had to... seems to hold you in high regard. She thinks you'd be a valuable ally in the endless battle. Tell me about yourself. I told you they call me of the Bloom. I was born here, and I knew nothing of the world outside for the longest time. I thought it was normal to play in passages made of gut and tissue, to hide from slavers in diverticula, to watch visitants staggering in from other worlds. I learned how to read people there, and how to understand them. One day, I left the Bloom and came to Sage's Cliffs, and I discovered the world was a different place than I thought. A better place. That's when I learned to fight. That's why I learned to fight. He gestures at himself. This isn't a warrior's body, of course. Not in the usual sense. He smiles, and a great pressure swells in your head, and vanishes before you can even register alarm. But I'm not usual. No one in the fifth eye is. We're psychics, psionics, seers. Call us mind-benders or thought-rippers, but we're warriors. We keep the minds of Sage's Cliffs safe from the threats they don't even imagine them. Bit of a start there. The old man growls. They'd go crazy if they did. That's not a growl, is it? That was a vague, resigned... whatever. Not exactly the paragons of sanity at the best of times. What is this place? This is the Fifth Eye. You might think it as a retirement home or veterans hospital, but it wasn't always this way. Look around you. He gestures at the pipes and disused machinery. There's a reason we're here. Ask your questions. Can you tell me about the nature of the Fifth Eye? What do you mean when you said it was a veterans hospital? He raps on the nearby wall. It's a solid sound. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Clank, 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 clank. It's a solid sound, no vibration. I don't know why I tried rapping the description out. That was stupid. We don't know what this place was, though the pipes and the machinery make it seem like some kind of pumping station. But what it is to us, and then his mind whispers in yours, sanctuary. A crawling sensation, like insects under your scalp. This is what the outside world is. You see an image of the city beneath you, writhing with ribbons of light that flare in a million colours. Each of these ribbons is a thought, word, deed, and each calls out for attention. So that's in his mind with a whisper, double colon. His companions nod. He continues speaking. When we're here, we can dampen that noise. The voices become voluntary. We can still listen, but it's not insistent. Whatever this building is, it's shielded, safe for our kind. Tell me about the history of the Fifth Eye. Also, this building is the Fifth Eye, and I think it's Oh, never mind. I can't move the cursor off the screen just now, but I think I've got a name for the episode. Let's drink some tea while I drink tea. I'll tell you what, I'll keep awkward contact while I do it. Hope you enjoyed that. Anyway, the psychically sensitive have been hiding here for generations. The endless battle, the cobalt breach, the rising blood. All the great psionic conflicts have victors and the defeated. But more importantly, they have the wounded, the veterans. The scars of 1,000 mental battleships away here. Nope. No, they don't. They battle slip away here. We can't let our guards down. He drinks. And so we do. It's a long history. I should write it down sometimes, but I'm feeling lazy. I hope that says... Yeah, that's cool. Actually, let's talk about something else. What can you tell me about the adversaries? A good question. Better if I show you. He closes his eyes and you feel an insistent nudge in your mind. Then your vision goes black, replaced with a nightmare. You see a void, oblivion, a place where the black stars hang and shriek with formless rage. Violet lightning arcs through the skies and you witness enormous masses of pustulant orbs raging against each other. Streams of conscious thought rocket from them, and they scream of need, desire, hatred. Other emotions arise with these, wisps of mental energy that curl like steam. They brush your consciousness with a touch of beslimed with the They brush your consciousness with a touch beslimed with the unknowable hungers of an alien mind. These luminous wisps quest through invisible cracks in dimensional walls. New worlds, unsuspecting minds, brilliant lights enfolded in the adversary's decaying orbits, imprisoned stars winking out forever. They came through the bloom, shining and tenebrous at the same time. He whispers. They offered games, riches, promises for the future. I felt their passage and was afraid. I hid my mind from their questing touch. I felt them reach for me, and I cowered in my shell. Psyope. She lays a hand on Dharma's shoulder. Those who didn't hide saw the law, and they were drawn into that unwinnable mental game, attracted by the light of the adversary's minds. They followed their own dreams into madness, psychic and normal people alike. The ruin of the city's minds was... She shakes her head. You were wise enough to see beyond the law and the danger. You couldn't stand against them yourself, and so you hid. We all did. Not all, he growls. Some stood. They played the game and got cracked like glow globes. I felt them die, and their spirits got sucked into a vortex of endless fear. You did the right thing, Dharma, and I've told you that before. Fine, fine, he replies, waving the words away. But you've seen what the adversaries are like now. Inhuman, with no negotiation. Maybe they're communicating with us, and we don't understand them. But I tell you, if this is their hello, I don't want anything else to do with them. So those of us who survived that initial incursion gathered here. We set aside our differences, and we fought back, but not without our own losses. What are the adversaries? I don't know. What we see isn't the whole picture. We know that. It's an extrusion into our world, just a piece of the creature's psychic material. Maybe it's a conscious unit on its own, maybe it's self-directed, but my deepest fear is that every adversary we've seen is the smallest piece of a singular entity, and that our pushback is drawing its attention ever so slowly towards us. If you ever meet one, you'll know why that frightens me so. How do you fight the adversaries? Are you thinking you might use your labyrinth to trap it? Don't do it. He steeples his fingers under his chin and considers. Though, wait, it might work? It might. He looks at Therebos and Ziob. They exchange a wordless communication and he shrugs. We used a spotter. Someone trained to recognize their scent. He'd give them the briefest engagement, enough to whet their appetites, and he'd bring them to a battlefield of our choosing. The adversary will tempt you with something. It will tap into parts of your mind you'd forgotten, ignite a desire. It will offer bargains, tastes of power, and try to draw you towards its way of thinking. The key is to keep control of the imagery and the metaphors your minds conjure together. That's where I come in, says Therebos. He leans forwards on the table, his gaunt face seeming even more drawn. I feed words and stories to our spotter, help him build an internal story that seemed to mirror what the adversary told, and I'd lay a pathway between our battlefield. He'd walk down that pathway, and the adversary would be extruding itself into our world, right alongside him. His smile was hard and feral. And then we'd close off the exits and get to work cutting it into pieces. So, tell a story. Resist the adversary's metaphors. Build in the details of your hardened mental space. Draw it in. Then use your familiarity with the place. For some reason I can't pronounce that word. Familiarity. I just don't like it. With the place to destroy the bastard. He's probably more enthused than I am. He swallows the rest of his drink. If you're going to try, and again, I can't emphasize enough that you should seek our help, but if you're going to do it alone, gods, I can't even believe I'm saying this. If you do it alone, be careful. Can you tell me about the people here? He smiles, a little wistful. Sure, but keep in mind most of them can't hear us. Who do you want to gossip about? The others burst out laughing. He gestures around the bar. They've all got their stories. Some of them aren't from this world. Some of them aren't even real. This summons another peal of laughter. I don't... P-E-A-L. I'm not familiar with that word. Peal of laughter. I can get the context, but... I was seeing if I was being too quiet. He points his chin around the room. There's Therebos, Ziob, Letter O. Oh, Feriok. We own the place together. We fought in all manner of wars, battles, and conflicts. We've travelled for some, worn Esper helmets for others, or projected ourselves across the world. But the worst were the adversaries. They were the true test for all of us. They forged our friendship tighter than any other experience could have. Best part is, we sacrificed our lives, our friends, and our sanity for a city that'll never know. They keep on with their daily lives and just assume the rash of madness is some effect of the Numenera. Gave up the best part of our minds. They don't even care. Doesn't matter to me what the rabble think. Be nice to get some professional recognition. We've been over this there, boss. We don't do it for ourselves. We do it because it's the right thing. I'm going to let them continue. Sure, saving the lives of people who flinch when they see me coming. I love seeing mothers snatch their children from my path. Clearing insects from my bedroll is the next important step in knowing that I took action. Because the ingrates in Sage's Cliffs won't even sell me a damned clean sheet. If they were dead, at least I could steal their sheets. Who do you think the adversary would go after once all the citizens were dead, friend? You think they'd head out into the world, leaving your mind glowing bright behind them? I could shield myself, no problem. I did it when they came out, remember? Just like you. Yes, I did, but I found help. We hunted those bastards down and wiped most of them out. If you were alone here, you'd get tired of having to hide your true self around them and start cursing at them, just so you know they'd notice you. So I screwed up at the end there. He turns to hold his hand up. You see what I got to put up with? Ask for a modicum of respect, and instead I get mockery. I don't know why we pay any attention to this old gallows glass. What do you mean some of the others aren't even real? The smile disappears. Talk to Ziob. Let's talk about Theberos. I'm going to keep calling him Theberos accidentally. Theberos, despite his terrible complexion, gaunt face, bird-like nose, and questionable taste in haberdashery, actually, I'm trying to think of any redeeming qualities that might offset all of this. I'm right here, you know. He ignores his friend. Ah, yes. Despite all these obvious disadvantages, Theberos has once had become one of the preeminent warriors of a language in the entire world. You can laugh, but the old saying is undeniably true. The tongue with the word is deadlier than the hand with the sword. See, I know a similar phrase. Unless the sword hand gets to you before you can make someone get in the way, he mutters. Probably less tongue-tied than I did. He laughs. You can plant words in your mind. He can plant words in your mind that will activate and weaponize your body against itself. With a word he can spin illusions inside your skull. He knows the hidden receptors and compartments of the mind. He can whisper lock you dead. That a fair enough assessment, eh? His friend nods. Tell me about Ziob. Let's not. Nonsense. Ziob is our enforcer, our telekinetic. She summons visions for us to distract our foes, projects deadly energy, and harnesses the power of the physical world to anchor us, or our enemies. While we deliver the killing blow, she also lets us focus our energy through her. She is what you might call our heavy weaponry, because she makes the immaterial world much, much more tangible. While we frolic in the playgrounds of the mind, she's concerned with more earthly matters. How poetic, you old scholark. Truly you took the words straight from my... Why, you dirty thief! You were practically shouting, Ziob. How could I help but listen? He says with his hands up in surrender. Let's talk about Fira. Perception. The smile slips from her face, but she says nothing. Ziob. He doesn't look towards the bar, but his mood turns somber. A true empath, our spotter, back when he could do the work. A brave man, aware of the risks he took, psychically sensitive, able to catch the lure of the adversaries, and willing to run with it. If it hadn't been for him, we'd never had the success we did. He looks down at the table. The last one we fought caught him. It took his... He pauses, lost in thought. She steps in, Zio. It took some things that would make him special. He can't spot for us anymore. His powers aren't what they were. He's a shadow of his old self. But the old skit sucker still has our thanks anyway, Theberos says. He raises his glass towards the bartender, but drops it on the table as Zio punches his arm. Ow! That's bad luck, you know. Cherry Coke. Diet Cherry Coke. A little bit of lime. Also, I've got some backup tea to pour into my tea because I ran out. So let's do that now before it goes cold. Don't speak an ill word about him, Theberos. Not after what he did. I don't know, that was a really creepy little look I gave. It's just because I was looking at my cup at the same time I was trying to look up. You know how I feel about Ferriox Ziob. He swishes the liquid left in his glass, his head and voice lowered. Before he lost his powers, he was one of the best of our team. One of the best I've ever known. They all nod. He cackles. But don't tell him I said so. Ziob punches him again. Can you tell me about Letta? She's our seer, our prescient. She knew where the adversaries were going to be. She knew when they'd be there. So we could set ourselves up in time. His voice is somber, but they grew wise to her. They threw themselves through the probability space. Played the game maybe with her, and they were better than she was. Not so loud, he murmurs. It wasn't her fault. I never said it was. He radiates tension. The adversaries got better than all of us. We're lucky they only... He wipes a tear from his eye. We're lucky we only took the losses we did. Let's talk about something else. How did you all come to find this place? Sorry, I missed one. He frowns. It called to us. It was a beacon. It was warm and welcoming. It was warm and welcoming. The first time I set foot inside these doors, the noise from the outside world lessened. It didn't disappear. I can focus and hear it as I wish, but I could let down my guard. Relax. He looks around the room. I wager the same is true of all the others. I picked the right guy to talk to, didn't I? Blimey. Let's talk about something else. Right, I think I have a lead on the identity of the adversary, do I? I'm grateful for your help, friend. Tell me your suspicions, and I'll see if I can confirm or allay them for you. Could it be Clarion? No, never mind. Let's talk about something else. Clarion seems to hold you in high regard. She thinks you'd be a valuable ally in the endless battle. I've got more pressing matters closer to home. The adversary, remember? I'm not going anywhere until we've dealt with that nightmare. Alright, fine. Could it be Clarion? He bursts out laughing. I understand that her devotion to destruction might make her seem like a monster, but, like the rest of us, she's merely human. That's it for now. Okay, I'm glad I did that. So, I'm going to move my face off the screen. So, we have a call to war. So he's not going to leave the Fifth Eye until the adversary has been defeated. And we're looking around for the adversary in the place. I'm glad he just laughed and didn't.
Yes.
So, who's Almus, the Soul Keeper? Owen is.
Those tattoos hurt? They look like they probably hurt.
This guy's got a unique voice. For a moment, you're not entirely sure if you look upon a construct or a human. The plastic sheen of this pale man's skin suggests artificiality. But if he's a construct, he's so cunningly constructed, so close to the human baseline, that the illusion is nearly perfect. Except his head is a trifle too large, his eyes black buttons. Then you realise the truth. He is a visitant, his home many millions of miles distant. Almus, my name. What can you tell me of yourself? He lifts his great head slowly and fixes you with a dolorous gaze. I am Almus, the Keeper of Souls, last of my kind. Only survivor of a civilization that spanned time and space. Now they are gone, their stars black. Reality's winds carry me. He turns his head back towards his drink. What happened to your people? The highest caste of power controlled we... I'm going to try that again. The highest caste of power controlled we minds, ideas, for all souls of empire. A great web we wove, shining with power, but other nodes, they winked away, till only I remained. His fingers drum the tabletop. An image of my people I carry, but no place to make it real. Our domain lost, I, alone, am paralysed with indecision and fear. And his thoughts say, did I destroy them? Was I not discontented? Or was I? How did you get here? He looks around. Not my time, not my place. Yet, when the connection to home broke, a beacon shone. Here, 5 minds drew me, a light in darkness. They were not a light to understand. They were safety, surety. While a new home I find, in this place I have clear thought, untarnished. How did your civilization die? A doubt arose. It took seed, took flight. These thoughts connected to our network. These questions spread like disease. Trust, mistrust rooted. Nodes decohered. Without nodes, without control of dreams, the civilization falls. And then they are gone. I alone remain. What were the doubts that destroyed your civilization? I do not know. I do not recall. Perception. Yet something in his stance suggests otherwise. I know. I recall. Perhaps I can help. Tell me of your people. We were gracious autarchs, grinning souls of architecture, children of the stars. Those under our control lived as we bade, controlled them, directed them. We gave them happiness, we gave them thoughts, gave hope or took hope away. A place of relentless peace and prosperity under our rule. We saw all possibilities, limitless our potential. Tell me the doubt that destroyed your civilization. I know you know. I do. Yes. It was my doubt. Mine. My question. I asked only, what if our way is not best? What if our people have desires of their own? Wants that we do not give? He places a single hand across his eyes, and then slowly it slides away. The others began to see, and question. Questions gave way to self-doubt. Self-doubt gave way to self-hate. I wanted only to know what is best. How do we become better? Not tear us down, but I shone a bright light on behavior, on truth. But our center could not hold under truth. His wet, terrified eyes fix on yours. Was I to blame? Is civilization's end affixed on me? In dreams I see their faces, but not their minds. Tell me truly, is the fault mine? Okay, so I can use Tidal Surge, which is grey, because it requires trained tidal affinity skill. But I could have erased the doubt. So I can say, yes, you planted the seed, you bear the blame, you could have kept your questions to yourself. Are you sure they're gone? What if they saw you doubt and just cut you away, cast you aside, or I think you're blameless in this? I'm going to go for the fourth option. Are you sure they're gone? What if they saw you doubt and just cut you away, cast you aside? Horror dawns on his face. Is this why I cannot feel them? Why I retain only an image? He closes his eyes and concentrates, hard, around the bar. Other patrons wince and cover their ears with their hands. You feel the brushing of a great and terrifying howl of anguish. I get some blue and indigo. I feel like that probably wasn't the best answer to give. He whispers. I am alone. I feel an echo, but no true response, as if they hide. He pulls his hands apart, and you sense a vast network of power contained within them. He raises his hands before his face. Then he crumples his fist. The energy vanishes. I have severed the last connection, the last hope. If they exist still, they must exist without me. Let me be forgotten. No more, he whispers. No more. He drops his head and weeps. Alright, that seems sort of cruel, but at the same time, I would imagine He needed that. Okay, let's let him be alone. This is O. Your eyes cannot focus on this person. Whether male or female, you cannot say, but it hums with a force that both attracts and repels you. You feel a sense of amusement as its regard settles upon you. You speak with O, it says. You have tasted the truth in the form of machine lubricant. You have contemplated the totality of human existence. Speak quickly and true. The world slows around you. The being has no mind to speak of. Where there should be thoughts, you instead sense only a deep, endless hole threatening to swallow your own mind. Who are you? I am O. You might call me an ultra-terrestrial, though I am far more. I am from beyond space, beyond time, above your comprehension. Your mind has chosen this form for me, and I am content to exist in the structure. But know that I exist also outside your subjective experience, and might describe me as a superpositional extraction of fundamental universal laws made tangible. It gestures languidly, and you understand perfectly. I am word made flesh, a letter at least, a concept covered in false skin, infinitely malleable and essentially unknowable. What does it mean to be a word? I was, am, will be. I saw into the infinite past, into the illimitable future. When the cosmos erupted into a sea of light, I saw it. When the mechanism winds to a sad and creaking end, I will weep. At the moment of the great wings of death enclose creation, I am the last vestige of dust, frozen, forever perfected. What are you doing here? I'm here to see the final attempt at entries by the adversaries. I'm here to offer a vision to Leto. Did you say this was the final attempt at entry by the adversaries? The adversaries thought to peel through realities, to devour this world as they have others. They have never lost. This world is the first taste of defeat. Within themselves, the eaten cores of their victims begin to stir. The adversaries will cease to exist in any meaningful form within a millennium if they are stopped here. This is an inflection point. If the warriors here succeed, the adversaries will not rise again for an eon. So it is written. I just met God. Where did you come from? You will not understand. Let me show you. Its eyes widen, expanding to fill the room. Your vision, your consciousness, and you tumble into a starry immensity. Swirls of nebulae twist and knot, and the hearts of these stellar clusters roar, hungry vortices. What? Yeah, fair enough. You tumble helplessly into a myriad of them, at once torn apart and reformed in an instant. A being of pure light and will. You find yourself standing in the fifth eye again, your nose running, and tears streak your cheeks. You wipe them and get away numbly, and you realise your hand is streaked with blood. Took 1 damage to health pool. Last cast off permanently gained 1 intellect pool. Maximum intellect pool is now 11. Too much information. Too much knowledge. Had I shown you more, the energies that bind you together would have failed. So you said you came to offer a vision to Leto? She is prescient. She is the mother of empires. The adversary's presence has polluted her vision, and she has strayed from the page. I'm here to reunite her with the truth. I do not intervene, but this story was true, and so it is true, and so this is not an intervention. It happened because it happens. I'm saying that, by the way. The vision will come when you have left the city. There we are. A moment. None here will know of our conservation. Sorry, let me try that again. A moment. None here will know of our conversation. None will know its nature. None see me, nor will they recognize any sign of me, even in this remarkable place. They cannot know. But I give you a gift, Cast-Off, and God and man, for yours is a true story. It is welcomed into the world. It was born from desire, and will end in... But no, I do not tell you your fortune. Light envelops you, and you open your eyes. Oh, it's gone. I permanently gained 4 health pool. Maximum health pool is now 26. Continue. Live. Breathe. Right, I'm pretty sure that was the big G of this world, of this universe, of this cosmos, creation, whatever. He did say he was the word, yeah. Right, that was pretty weird, wasn't it? This is Yisk. The most distinguishable feature of this tall, vaguely awkward man is the yellow shirt he wears. He seems desperate to fade back into the scenery. When he sees you notice him, he gives you a faint, uncomfortable grin. Perception. Something about him seems off, as if he were a flicker in the air, or strangely two-dimensional. He doesn't seem to emit a sense of presence at all. Who are you? Erin, called Yisk, he almost whispers. I am not here. Can you tell me anything more about yourself? No, this is like a dream to me. Can you tell me about the people here? He shakes his head, as if terrified to meet your gaze. What can you sense about this? Tell me about this place. Nothing. Why can't I sense you? Skist, he mutters. The yellow shirt fades away, and then the skin, muscle, and bone. What remains is a vaguely humanoid shimmer. I am Yisk Erin, a trans-dimensional projection from a distant past. This abacus form, this is not the truth of me, trapped in this body, but I am not this. What's an abacus? A ghost, trans-dimensional. It feeds. I only watch and learn. Where are you from? Distant past, epochs ago, turning through time to see future. Overshot. It shrugs vaguely. Maybe next visit. Can you affect this reality? Only words. The ghost hand passes through you. Nothing touches. Only ideas. No physical energy conveyed. How did you get to this place in particular? When casting through time saw light, drawn to civilized thought, admiring psychics. Okay. Oh, there's a ghostly woman. You draw closer, but the wispy form of the woman in the booth does not clarify. You can hardly discern the details of her ghostly face, and you hear a chorus of whispering female voices that swarm around her like chance moths. Study her face more carefully. You peer more closely at her, and she takes no notice of you. Her features are those of a teenage woman, leaving childhood behind. Perception. You have seen her face before. Somewhere in the city. The ghostly woman could be her twin. Listen to the whispers. They brush against your mind just below the level of conscious thought. You hear them, but not with your ears. You can only make out snatches of whispers in your mind. You killed me, created me, never wanted to die. Listen to the whispers again. Unmade me, only wanted peace. Your fault I live. Right, who are you? She's been ignoring you, but without a transitional state, her face is suddenly and furiously focused on yours. Another flicker and her hands wrap around your throat. Ghost or not, her fingers are very real, and they are choking the life from you. I'm going to try and escape. Success! You manage to wrest her fingers from your throat, and you hurl her away. You come up in a crouch, ready for another attack, but she is looking away from you, as if nothing happened. I'm going to draw her attention again. Let the ghost strangle you. Her fingers dig deeper. She's not just compressing your trachea, she's tearing your throat out. You choke and cough, drowning on your blood, but she's latched inside you, and the last thing you see is her rage-twisted face.
I'm faltering. I'm hurt.
I got 3 XP from that though. Also, hoping to get my stats back. Ooh, this is a bit different. There's the ghostly woman again. Let's examine. Let's save my game because it's been like an hour. Right, cool. No, I want to examine that first. The air is warm next to this machine. You feel dizzy whenever you go near it. There's the area that I can leave. It is the same ghostly woman who strangled you, but the fury is gone from her face, replaced with confusion. She looks around. Her gaze falls on the large machine and lingers there. Finally, she notices you. She steps forwards, a hint of trepidation in her eyes. Where are we? Do you know? How do I know that machine? It frightens me. I don't know why. It looks kind of like the buried crossroads, a laboratory hidden underneath the city. A city? Sages? She says the last word softly to herself. Why do I remember that name? She looks around her again. This place isn't beneath any city, though. I don't think we're in the real world at all. I wish I could remember more. I do remember one thing. She puts her hand to the side of her head. I was angry, enraged. There are... She turns on you. I don't know how, but there are women like me born throughout the city, repeatedly, against their will. My memories are flitting back to me like flies. What drove them away? Why you? Who are you? She shakes her head. I don't know. I can't remember. I know I'm not really here. I'm just a memory. But something is forcing me into existence. Or not me, but people like me.
I'll remember that.
So this is the ashen invitation. She takes your hand into hers. It's wrong. I don't know how I know, but... She looks away, lost in her own thoughts. When she turns back to you, there is a certainty in her voice. Find them. The women becoming like me, or already like me. Maybe I'll remember more. Maybe we can do something. How do I find these women? They are in the real world, in Sages. You may have met them without realizing. I have only vague impressions of them. I know that one of them is a leader. She has sacrificed much of her life and gained life in return. She shakes her head as though to clear it. I'm sorry, I can't tell you more than that. Do you have any more impressions of where I might find these women? One of them offers joy and sorrow for coin. Her family is not her own. It's borrowed, I think. Okay. I'm sorry, I can't tell you more than that. One of them is dead, and yet a piece of her lives. Find that piece. Okay. There's 3 women I need to find that look like her. Okay, farewell. Don't forget, we must know more. Well, quite a lot of quests. So I'm gold and blue. So let's leave this place.
On it.
So let's make a mental note before I leave the place. So one of them is a leader who's given up much and gained life. One of them is dead but a piece of her remains. And one of them offers sorrow and joy. I'm glad you came out that door. The thing just showed up. I didn't know what to expect. Do you know why the ghostly woman is in that fathom? He shakes his head. Don't know anything about that one. That way's blocked. Not surprising, really. It's your mind, not mine. Most likely she's a lacuna, a construct of your buried memories. Either that, or she's a reflection of somebody you met in real life. Whoever, or whatever she is, she probably isn't real. You're the only one with that distinction. He chuckles to himself, and me by extension. Right, I think I'm ready to go. Oh well. So the portal's clapped in this tiny pulsing sphere. Something strikes you as angry. Yeah, that's where those three people are.
On it.
So let's save again. Hopefully I've got my stats back. Oh, that'd be nice.
Final! Sons could give birth waiting for you. Which would be nice, actually.
Right, I did not gain any stats, just health. That's a shame. I'm going to have to sleep, aren't I? Where was I? In the Daughter's Fathom. Right.
If you
So,
want a job done right.
I need to talk to all the rest of the people, but I'm just going to go back to him and talk to him about people. I talked to a being called O. I know he's not going to know of O. I've sensed O's presence and reached out to it with my mind. It is not an adversary. It's, well, I don't know how to describe it, but rest easy because O probably won't destroy you. Probably. Almas the Soul Keeper. What about him? I know it's not him either. He shakes his head. His is a tale of personal tragedy and sorrow, though perhaps the end result is not the worst for the people under his cast's titular care, but he's not the adversary. The strange ghostly woman over there? Ah yes, while she's unpredictable and possibly dangerous, she's not an adversary. We tried to remove her before, yet she returns. Rather than risk any damage, we just stay out of her way. I advise you do the same. No, she's important to me. A man in the yellow shirt who changed his shape, what about him? That poor, lost soul is not the adversary. He's been trapped in the form of an abacus. But he's not an abacus himself. Don't fear him. Pity him. Alright, never mind. So, I do have like a whole bunch of other people I need to talk to, but this man's mind is sealed off from you, like trying to read the thoughts of a book that's being glued shut. The man is old and strong, his face lined with years of brutal experience. His face is aquiline, his nose sharp, he wears a broad-rimmed hat, and his voice is low rasp. I'm Therabos, he says. Tell me a story. Make it a good one. I was born fallen from the sky, and now I'm trying to repair a chamber that will stop a nightmare. He watches you intently as you speak, and when you finish, he nods sharply. You're telling the truth, he says. A lot of people embellish, or they lie outright. Try to pretend they're more than they are so people will remember them as giants. But more often than not, they just end up looking ridiculous. He pats you on the shoulder. You've given me a rare treat. Thanks. So, what do you want? Can't help you with the chamber, but maybe there's something else. Alright, very well. I'm going to let you go, because it's been an hour. This is the 5th Eye. I've been John Foxy on channel John West. I've been having a Torment adventure. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you. Thank you for watching.